Son, come over here and let me talk to you for a minute. Come on, we don't have time. Yeah, I know. Well, son, I tell you, life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters, boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor. Bare. But all the time, I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners and sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on those stairs, 'cause your finds is kind of harder. I remember that day just like it was today. The day that old Lady Justice was at work. Let me tell you a story, son. In September 2018, former police officer Amber Guyger was returning home from a long day of work when she said she accidentally parked on the wrong floor of her apartment complex garage. As she walked down the 4th floor hallway, she said she did not realize that anything was amiss, nor did she realize or notice the red doormat that was outside of the door. The door strike plate was defective and it didn't latch all the way according to the defense. So this allowed Miss Guyger to use her own keys and enter the home. When Miss Guyger noticed someone inside, she said she drew her gun and shouted, "Let me see your hands." She then testified that the person that was in the home shouted, "Hey," and she fired her weapon twice. 26-year-old Brotham Jean, an accountant, was hit once in the torso and was killed. At that time, Officer Guyger never called for help. She never used the first aid kit that she had in her possession, and she made no efforts to try and save Mr. John's life. Her defense used the castle doctrine, similar to stand your ground, saying that because Miss Guyger believed that it was her home that she was entering, that it was her castle, she was justified in shooting the person that she believed to be a perpetrator. Miss Guyger got on the stand. She cried. She did admit to shooting him. But it won't take away from the fact that before Miss Guyger arrived to that apartment, Mr. Brotham Jean was sitting in his house, minding his business, and had just sat down to enjoy a bowl of ice cream.
Now, a jury has just found a former Dallas police officer guilty on murder charges. You remember Amber Guyger? She was charged last year after shooting and killing her unarmed neighbor.
The jury having reached a verdict, Ms. Guyger and your team, would you please stand? We, the jury, unanimously find the defendant, Amber Guyger, guilty of murder as charged in the indictment. No outburst.
My. Just when we threw our hands up and we gave up all hope, old Lady Justice decided to come to work, son. So you see, don't you fall now. Don't you give up. For eyes are still going, honey. And eyes are still climbing. And life for me ain't been no crystal stair. But son, if you never remember anything I ever told you, remember this. Sometimes, child, even Lady Justice decides to come to work.